Hi, welcome to SBRForum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing UFC 160 right now, and we are joined, as always, by returning guest Nick Kalikas, professional MMA odds maker, and his website is MMAoddsbreaker.com. And our call-in guest this week is Adam Martin from MMAoddsbreaker.com as well. All right, guys, now we're going to discuss TJ Grant and Gray Maynard, and I think I'm liking a side here. I'm seeing that Maynard is minus 200 at 5 dimes. TJ Grant is plus 170 right now, and Grant seems like he's kind of on a mission. It's a huge fight for him. Maynard's recovering from the injury. I think you might, give the striking advantage to Grant as well as grappling and subs, although you give a wrestling advantage to Maynard. I think TJ Grant at plus 170 has some value. Do you agree with that, Adam Martin?
I do, actually. I think TJ Grant has a lot of value at plus 170, and I would definitely recommend a bet on him. I think that Gray Maynard's on decline right now. I think his last fight against Clay Guida, he did win that fight by split decision, but that was a very close fight. And if he had lost that fight, he wouldn't even be in this position right now. So, his last couple fights, he got knocked out by Frankie Edgar. He had to draw with Edgar. He just hasn't really looked that great, honestly. I think he's pretty overrated, to be honest with you. He used to be a pretty good fighter, but I think he's like 34 years old now, if I'm not mistaken, and he just had a baby. So I don't think his focus is on fighting anymore. I really don't. I think it's on his family. And I think TJ Grant's one of those guys that's, like you said, on a mission right now to get that title. The guy's a beast, man. He's like 4-0 at lightweight. He had a long career as a welterweight in the UFC, and he was very good. He had a very close fight with Johnny Hendricks a couple of years ago, and since coming down to lightweight, he's been nothing but an absolute monster. In his last fight, he knocked out Matt Wyman with some elbows from the tech clinch. That was impressive because Matt Wyman is one of the most durable guys in the UFC lightweight division, and TJ Grant ran through him. So the UFC knows what they have with him in this fight. That's why it's a number one contenders fight. They know that TJ Grant has the potential to be a champion in the UFC, and I think he's going to win this fight. So I definitely recommend that on him at plus 170. I actually hit the line at plus 185 a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure if it's going to get back up, but if it gets back up that high, I'm going to hit it again.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm agreeing with you. I think TJ Grant has some value here at plus 170. Anytime, though, you see a line that you think is off, you always have to ask yourself, all right, well, why is the line then where it is? Why do you think Gray Maynard is a minus 200 favorite?
The public loves the guy. I mean, you go on the message boards, you go on Twitter, and everyone's talking about Gray Maynard and how he's going to run through TJ Grant. I think the public's wrong about this. I think that they're not seeing TJ Grant from the right angle here. I think that the guy's, like I said, on the rise. Well, Gray Maynard's on the decline. Sure, Gray had those great fights with Frankie, and he's been in some great wars in the UFC. But I think his time as a top shelf lightweight has come to an end. I think TJ Grant is just starting, so that's why I think the public is liking him.
All right, Nick Kalikas from MMA Oddsbreaker. Does that square with the action that you've seen? Has the public been betting Gray Maynard here?
When I opened the line a little bit over 2-1, and it's decreased a little bit now. It's sitting around 2-1, like you mentioned, at 5 dimes. But believe it or not, the action is coming in a little bit more on Gray, even though the line has dropped. It's another one of those adjustments thing that we were talking about earlier. I do like the side. You guys are right. TJ Grant, there's tremendous value, I think. Yeah. TJ Grant in this fight. Gray Maynard, I know that it's unfair to say that he's on the decline, but I think Adam has something there as well. He is on the decline a little bit. I think that stylistically they match up interesting as well, because on the feet, as you mentioned, Peter, I think that TJ Grant's actually the better technical striker. He's going to have an edge on the feet. On the ground, that there's no doubt in my mind that his BJJ is a lot better than Gray's as well. So really the only true advantage Gray has is a little bit of power and his wrestling, of course, but Gray, when he finds a good submission guy, he doesn't like to take the fight to the floor as often. So I think he's going to probably avoid taking the fight to the floor as much as he should. And if that's the case, not to mention that TJ Grant's takedown defense has improved a lot as well. But I think that most of this fight's going to end up playing out on the feet. And on the feet, I think that technically, like I said, TJ Grant has an edge. He can possibly even get the knockout. Not going to be surprised if Gray gets caught in this fight as well. So plus 160, plus 170, there's a dog bet to be made here.
All right, but it sounds like, though, that you're expecting to have a roughly balanced action and that you're not going to need either side.
Well, no, I mean, actually, in this situation here, I'd love letting the public bet the favorite a little bit more from the spot. So the line, you could see it decrease a little bit more and more action getting piled up on Gray. Now, I'm not going to go crazy here because Gray, I'm not going to underestimate him that much. I mean, the guy's has gotten to where he's at for a reason. I mean, those fights with Frankie have kind of, I think, maybe made his reputation a little bit more than it should be as far as the great fighter that he is. But he's definitely solid. I'm just not sold at this point. I mean, timing is everything, and the way these guys match up is everything as well. So the timing for TJ Grant is right, and I think he's going to pull off the upset. So I'm going to need TJ Grant for most of the spots that I consult with. They're going to need TJ Grant to win this fight, and hopefully decent.
All right, nice. I guess we're all in agreement here. TJ Grant with some value. Thanks, guys.